Hi everyone and welcome to the HashiCorp Certified Terraform Associate Certification based video course. I am Zeel and I am going to be your instructor throughout this course. So nowadays, if you explore the job market related to wide variety of domains like cloud, DevOps, security, one of the common tools organization actively uses to create and manage infrastructure is Terraform. And this is the reason why, if you'll explore the job description associated with roles like DevOps, Terraform is one of the common tools that you will see that organization expects the candidate to know. And this is not surprising primarily because of the immense benefits that Terraform brings while managing the infrastructure. So before we go ahead and look into why Terraform has become one of the de facto standards associated with the infrastructure as code tools, let's explore some of the job descriptions associated with some of the industry leaders here. So the first one that we are going to explore, again this is an older position but our aim is to look into the job description here, is Netflix, and the role here is senior DevOps engineer. Now if we go a bit down in your experience here, apart from your knowledge of AWS, GCP, etc., you see Terraform is mentioned here. The second JD that we are going to explore is associated with Microsoft for Azure infrastructure. Now, if you look over here, it states deep knowledge of at least three technologies, one among them being ARM templates or Terraform. The third role is in Apple, associated with cloud software engineer. And if you look into the key qualification here, one among them is Terraform. And the last one that we are going to explore is associated with NVIDIA. Again, this is senior software engineer DevOps. And if you look into what they are expecting, you see Terraform is in the list. So there is a reason why all of the top organizations across the world are using Terraform for managing the stack. And it's not just the top organization. Most of the organization nowadays, for the role of DevOps, Terraform is one of the key requirements that is commonly seen. So with this base set, let's look into what Terraform is in the first place and what is the advantages that it brings to the organization. Now, my personal journey in Terraform began when I was given a requirement to implement AWS hardening guidelines for our AWS accounts. So the organization that I was working with, we used to store sensitive information like credit card, etc. So we had to go through wide variety of compliances like PCI DSS, RBI, etc. So security was one of the major requirements that we had to work on. So as part of implementing the AWS hardening guidelines, that time we used to follow the CIS benchmark extensively. So in CIS benchmark, there were 100 plus pages of guidelines that were recommended. And if you try to implement it manually, it used to take 2 to 3 days to implement it in one account. Now let me quickly show you on how exactly this looks like. So if you look into the CIS benchmark associated with AWS, you see they have a lot of requirements that you have to ensure that you set as part of your account. It is related to the identity access management, EC2, RDS, etc. And as of now, you have 250 pages. Back then, when I had been implementing CIS, we had close to around 120 pages. And here they have basically given you what are the things that you have to verify and set to ensure that proper hardening guidelines are in place. So apart from implementing all of the pointers mentioned in the CIS benchmark, we had our own set of benchmarks. So it used to take quite good amount of time. Now, if there was only one account where the hardening guidelines would have to be implemented, things became much more simpler. But slowly, since the organization was growing, the number of AWS accounts were also growing. Initially, it was 1, it went to 3, it went to 10, it even went to 50. And in the later organization that I was working with, we had more than 100 AWS accounts. Alright, so when the number of AWS accounts grew, it became very difficult to go ahead and manually implement the AWS hardening guidelines for all of the accounts. And I'm more of a lazy person. I do not really want to do the same thing in a repeated fashion all the time. So in order to avoid this manual task, we had introduced Terraform for our organization. So let's look into the challenge that Terraform allows us to solve. So at a high level overview, Terraform allows us to create reusable code that can deploy identical set of infrastructure in a repeatable fashion. This is very important part to know. So let's quickly understand this. So let's assume that you have Terraform and you have set of AWS accounts. So in this diagram, there are 100 AWS accounts. So what you do, you create a set of rules in Terraform. So creating rules, initially it might take time, but on the longer run, this will make your life easier. So what you do, you create the hardening rules in Terraform one time, and then you ask Terraform to go ahead and deploy it in 100 AWS accounts. So once you write the rule, irrespective of how many accounts you have 100, you have 500, you have 1000 AWS accounts, it does not really matter. Terraform can go ahead and deploy all of the rules in the infrastructure that you choose. And this makes life very simple. So let's go ahead and quickly look into the hardening rules that I had created during those times. So within here, I have a folder of AWS hardening here, and you see there are a wide variety of rules that have been added here related to CloudWatch, related to CloudTrail, related to IAM, KMS, and various others. Again, these are some of the sample rules that I just thought that will add as part of today's demo so that you understand on what exactly Terraform tries to do. So what you need to do, based on the benchmarks that we had during those time, we converted all of the recommendation to Terraform code, and then we deployed Terraform code to all of the AWS accounts that we had. Now, once you have written the Terraform code, you don't really need to go ahead and implement things manually. The code is there. All you'll have to do is to tell Terraform to which AWS accounts the hardening rule needs to be deployed, and that's about it. Alright, so I hope with this you understood the challenge that Terraform manages to solve. And it's not just associated with hardening rules. If you want to create infrastructure, if you want to manage infrastructure, all of these things Terraform does it in a wonderful way, and it can make your life very simple. So let's do one thing. Before we proceed further, let's have a quick demo associated with how Terraform can deploy the resources in the targeted environment so that our concept can become much more easier. So for today's demo, I have a AWS environment that is available over here, and what we want is we want Terraform to go ahead and create the resources in our AWS environment. We are not going to do things manually. Alright. Now note, this is just a demo so that we understand what Terraform allows us to do. Now I have written a simple Terraform code related to virtual machine here. So if you will see, this is a very simple code that creates a virtual machine in AWS, and I also have a code that creates a firewall rule in AWS for the virtual machine that the Terraform will create. Now, instead of this, you can also have a complex 3-tiered infrastructure or hundreds of hardening rules, etc. It does not really matter. As long as the Terraform code is present, Terraform can go ahead and it can deploy it in the infrastructure that you choose. For example, here, let's go ahead and we'll just do a Terraform apply. So what Terraform will do, it will read the code that you have written and it will deploy it in the infrastructure. So here it is asking for confirmation related to the infrastructure creation. I'll just say it as yes. So now you see Terraform has started to create firewall rules in AWS, and also Terraform has started to launch a new virtual machine in AWS. So if I'll just quickly refresh this, you see a new virtual machine is created called as automated VM. And if you look into this virtual machine, if you look into the firewall rules, there are certain rules like port 22, port 443, which is nothing but the one that we have defined in the Terraform configuration. You see 443, 22, etc. Alright, so I hope with this you got the basic idea on how Terraform can read the configuration that you have written and it can deploy it to the infrastructure that you choose. Now, one of the great benefits due to which Terraform has become so popular is that it supports thousands of providers. So it's not that Terraform works only to create and manage AWS resources. Terraform works with AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, Docker, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle, and there are thousands of such platforms that Terraform supports. And the second important benefit here is that once you learn the core concepts of Terraform, you can write your Terraform code to create and manage infrastructure across all providers. So it is not that you have a different Terraform concept for AWS, different concept for Azure, etc. The core concept remains to be the same across all of the 1000 providers. you learn core Terraform concept, you will be able to write the infrastructure for all of the providers that Terraform supports. Now, due to this immense benefits that Terraform provides, as we have discussed, it has become one of the de facto infrastructure as code tool for the area of DevOps. And not only DevOps, even if you're working as a security engineer, Terraform is being used extensively to create hardening rules for AWS, etc. Now, due to this immense popularity that Terraform gained, HashiCorp decided to release the official Terraform certification to certify students related to core Terraform concepts and skills. So if you're HashiCorp certified in Terraform, organization knows that the candidate has the basic knowledge to write and implement Terraform to manage the infrastructure. So discussing about what exactly this course covers, note that we start this course of Terraform from absolute scratch. So no prior Terraform or coding knowledge is required here. And once we understand the basics of Terraform, then we go ahead and move into much more advanced topics here. And the second important part that you should know is that we cover all the topics associated with the official Terraform exams. So before we conclude, I also wanted to show you the official Terraform certification page. So the name of the certification is HashiCorp Certified Terraform Associate. And again, there are a lot of objectives and requirements. We'll be discussing about this in great detail in the upcoming set of videos. Now, before we conclude, I'll also introduce about myself. I primarily work as a DevSecOps engineer into the area of defensive security. Teaching has been one of my passions since a long time, and even before I started with the online video courses, I used to conduct a lot of workshops and seminars related to security, Linux, networking, etc. across multiple universities in India. Now, regarding the online presence, I have a total of around 16 courses with more than 340,000 students as of now. The most important here is that I am HashiCorp certified against the Terraform. I also am HashiCorp certified against various other tools like Vault, Console, etc. I am also AWS certified for the certifications related to DevOps Professional, Solutions Architect Professional, Advanced Networking Specialty, Security Specialty, etc. Apart from that, I am a Red Hat Certified Architect with more than 13 other certifications related to the Certified Ethical Hacker, PCI DSS certifications, etc. And part-time, I work as a security consultant. So that's a very high-level overview on what Terraform is all about and some of the advantages that it brings to the organization. From the next video onwards, we'll go ahead and explore Terraform in more detail. As of now, we'll conclude today's video. Personally, I am very excited for this course and I hope you are too. Hi everyone and welcome back. Now in today's video, we are going to discuss about the basics on what this course is going to be all about. Apart from that, we are also going to explore some of the important resources that you can refer while going through this course. Now the first important part that we need to keep a note of is that this is a certification specific course and hence we are going to cover all the pointers that are part of the official exam objectives of Terraform certification. Now, if you'll explore the official certification page associated with the Terraform certification, if we go a bit down, you see that HashiCorp has divided all of the topics into multiple set of primary objectives. So you have understanding the IAC concepts, within here there are sub-pointers and so on. So in total, there are 9 primary sections at this stage. Whenever HashiCorp modifies or adds new sections or new objectives, we update our course accordingly. But the main pointer that we need to keep a note of, everything that is mentioned as part of the exam objectives, you will find as part of this course. Now related to the exam objectives, there is one pointer that you need to keep a note of, which is the arrangement of topic that we have in the course is a little different from the exam blueprint, and this is done to ensure that the course remains beginner friendly and topics are covered in step-by-step manner. For example, it is not 100% necessary that first we will discuss about point 1a, then 1b, then 2a and 2b and so on. If we go through this way, then it will create a little amount of confusion if you are new to Terraform. So we have rearranged the topics in this course in a manner that even if you are completely new to Terraform, you will be able to understand it in a proper systematic way. The next important area is associated with the course resources. One of the very important resource is our GitHub page. So all of the Terraform code that we write throughout the course, everything is added as part of our GitHub repository. I'll be adding the link to our GitHub page after this video so that you can also reference to it. So if you look into our GitHub page here, we have arranged things in section. For example, the first section is deploying infrastructure with Terraform. So in the course also there will be a section of deploying infrastructure with Terraform. So within here, if I'll quickly open this up, let's go a bit down. Within here, we have various lecture names. So let's explore the lecture number 1 here, which is launch first virtual machine through Terraform. If I'll open this up, you will see that I have added all of the documentation that we must have referenced in the practical video. I have also added the code that we have used in this video and also the commands that we had run as part of this specific video. So anytime if you want to reference to any of the code, you can explore our GitHub repository, which is very important as part of your practical journey. The second important course resource is the PPT slides. Again, this is requested a lot. So all of the PPT slides that we use throughout the course, it is available to download as PDF. So it will look something similar to what you see as part of the screenshot. We have close to around 450 to 500 PPT slides in total. So this PDF is attached as part of the first section itself and the lecture title is Central PPT Notes. So if you'll explore this, you will find a link to download all of our PPT slides here. Apart from that, we also have our own online Discord community where you can connect with other students, and even if you want some kind of a technical support, we have a support team that is available. Again, note that this is optional. In case if you see it to be beneficial, you can join. We have thousands of students who have joined our community. If you want to connect to it, you can go through this link, which is kplabs.in/chat, which will take you to our Discord community. Now, before we conclude, there is one important part that we need to keep a note of. As we have already discussed, Terraform supports thousands of providers. It works with AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, Docker, etc. etc. So, this is the first part that we need to keep a note of. Now, the question that comes is, to learn the core Terraform concept, we have to choose one of the platform or one of the provider for our testing purpose. We can use AWS, we can use GitHub, we can use Kubernetes, etc. So which one of them we will be using? And the answer is, for this course, we will be using AWS as the provider platform. Now, this can create some sort of confusion for users from Azure background or users who are not aware of AWS. Or it can happen that someone is aware of only GCP platform. They have not worked with AWS, etc. So this creates a lot of confusion. So let's go ahead and or users who are not aware of AWS, or it can happen that someone is aware of only GCP platform. They have not worked with AWS, etc. So this creates a lot of confusion. So let's go ahead and learn the core Terraform concepts and not the AWS integration with Terraform. All right. And this is the reason why, although we will be using AWS, we'll only use very basic AWS services like creating a virtual machine or create simple AWS users to demonstrate and learn the core Terraform concepts. The third very important point that you need to keep a note of is that the Terraform structure and concept remains same irrespective of platform. For example, once you learn the core Terraform concepts, you will be able to write the Terraform code for any platform. It can be AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, etc. As long as your core concepts are clear. And for this course, the aim here is to ensure that your core concepts are well understood practically. And the fourth pointer here is that we have hundreds of students who have come from different backgrounds, like some are from Azure, some are from GCP, etc. And they want to learn the Terraform. Since we are using very basic AWS services like creating a VM or AWS users to demonstrate the core Terraform concept, it becomes simpler even if you are coming from other background or even if you are new to AWS. Whenever you face issue regarding anything, you can raise a support ticket, you can ask in our Discord community, and our technical support team will be more than happy to help you here. Great. So that's the high level overview on what this course is going to be all about and also some of the important resources. Now, one thing that I can say is that after you complete the course, you will be able to write decent Terraform code for your environment in your organization. We have many students who are in college who have completed their course and they are able to write good Terraform code. So Terraform overall is not complicated. Once you understand the concepts that we have covered in the course, you should be good to go. So with this base set, we'll conclude today's video. Hi everyone and welcome back. Now in today's video we are going to discuss about the basics of infrastructure as code and the benefits that it provides. Now, in any organization that you are working with, maybe in a DevOps role or even in a security role, there are always multiple ways in which you can create and manage your infrastructure. Primarily, there are two. First one is you can go ahead and create and manage your infrastructure manually, and second way is through automation. Now, in most of the medium to large size organizations that are much more mature, you will see that automation is the right way in which the infrastructure is managed. And there are a lot of benefits that this provides. So let's do one thing. Let's take a sample use case to understand the difference between both of these approaches so that we know the benefits that the automation based approach will provide to us. So as part of this slide, we are going to discuss about one of my work requirements that I had many years back, which was related to database backup. So I was assigned a task to take a database backup every day at 10 p.m. in the night, and the backup that was taken had to be stored in a Amazon S3 storage with appropriate timestamp. For example, the backup would look something similar to this. You will have the backup name followed by the timestamp. It can be 01/01/2024, so 1st of January 2024. Then next day, again you should have one more backup 02/01/2024 and so on. So this was the primary requirement. Now, initially, whenever you are working as a DevOps or security guy, you will not be just working on one small project. There will be a lot of other things that will be assigned to you. So, initially, due to lack of time, when I was assigned this specific smaller project, I used to do it manually. So, every night at 10 p.m., I used to manually take the database backup and upload it to S3 because there were other important work that I was doing. I did not really have a time to write a proper code. Now it's not that you can write a test code and deploy it in production. Things has to be tested quite properly before you deploy it in production. And this is the reason why initially I used to take a manual approach. Alright, now from here we can understand that this is not the right way. Otherwise, every day, even on Saturdays and Sundays, I had to log in at 10 p.m. and take the backup and also upload that backup to the S3. So, this kind of a approach where similar kind of a task needs to be done in a repeated way, manual approach is something that will unnecessarily waste your time and is not at all recommended. So at a later stage, when I got time, I created a small Python code and scheduled it at 10 p.m. through cron. So every night at 10 p.m., the Python code would take a backup at the appropriate timestamp and would upload the backup to S3 bucket. So that made the life quite simple. So what are the learnings from the requirement that we discussed? First important learning is if a particular task has to be done in a repeatable fashion, it must be automated. Otherwise, it will make your life difficult. So one key that depending upon the type of